All right, so we're diving into another deep dive today. And this one, I think you're going to find pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
We're talking about Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, wow. Shaq. Yeah.
But hold on.
Okay.
This is not about basketball.
Interesting.
All right. This is about Shaq in a hotel lobby in Los Angeles.
Got it.
And I think this is one of those stories where you think it's going to be one thing, but it turns into something a little bit more profound, I guess you could say.
Great.
So what makes this story so unique? What makes it so compelling?
I think it's because it really plays with our expectations. Like, you go into it and you think, okay, this is just going to be another Shaq story, you know, like a funny Shaq in the wild kind of a thing. But it becomes something a lot more profound, and it kind of speaks to our desire to be treated with respect regardless of our outward appearance.
Right. And this story kind of takes that and turns it on its head a little bit. So set the scene for us. We're in a very swanky Los Angeles hotel.
Vibe. Very, very opulent. I'm talking like crystal chandeliers.
Okay.
Hushed whispers, clinking champagne glasses, people gliding through the lobby in their, designer clothes as if they own the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the epitome of exclusivity.
Yeah. You can almost feel the judgment in the air just from that description.
Right.
Okay. So into this scene walks Shaq.
Yes.
Now, what is Shaq wearing?
Surprisingly, Shaq is not dressed to impress in this story. He's wearing everyday clothes. He might even have a slightly worn coat. It doesn't seem like he's trying to make a statement or draw attention to himself.
He's not trying to fit in with this very opulent crowd. Someone definitely notices him.
Yes.
And this is where we meet our infamous receptionist, Kelly.
Yes.
Paint a picture of Kelly for us.
Well, Kelly is like the gatekeeper of this exclusive world. She is all about appearances and making snap judgments about who belongs and who doesn't. She has this air of superiority. And unfortunately, Shaq doesn't fit her image of a typical guest.
Okay. And how does that play out? Walk us through the interaction.
Okay. So Kelly is immediately dismissive of Shaq. She questions if he even has a reservation. She implies that he can't afford to be there. She even goes as far as to suggest a budget motel down the street.
Oof, talk about adding insult to injury.
Right.
Now, what is so striking about this story is Shaq's reaction to all of this. Because he is calm throughout this whole ordeal, right?
He is incredibly calm. He doesn't throw a tantrum. He doesn't pull the "do you know who I am" card. And he doesn't even match Kelly's condescending tone. Instead, he pauses and he asks her a simple yet profound question. "Do you think," he says, "the way you're treating this customer makes them feel welcome?"
And that seems to be the turning point of the story because Kelly is caught off guard by this, right? This is not the reaction that she was expecting.
Yeah, Kelly is completely flustered. She stumbles over her words. She tries to justify her actions by claiming she's just doing her job and upholding the hotel's image. But it's very clear that she still doesn't fully grasp the gravity of her behavior.
And then all of a sudden, the tension in the room explodes.
Yes.
But not in the way that you might think.
No, not at all.
The hotel manager arrives.
Right.
Immediately recognizes Shaq and addresses him as
Mr. O'Neal.
Mr. O'Neal.
And then the big reveal comes. Shaq owns the hotel.
I bet Kelly's face was just priceless at that moment.
Oh, you could practically hear a pin drop in the lobby. Kelly's jaw drops. She turns pale. She starts backpedaling furiously. I mean, she's mortified. She's trying to explain herself, but the damage is done.
So what does Shaq do? Does he revel in Kelly's humiliation? Does he dress her down for her behavior?
No, that's what's so remarkable about this story. He does neither. Instead of making it a spectacle, Shaq uses this as an opportunity to share a piece of himself. He talks about his humble upbringing, how he was often judged based on his appearance, and how his mother instilled in him the importance of treating everyone with respect.
It's a powerful reminder that everyone has a story, and we shouldn't jump to conclusions based on outward appearances.
Exactly. By sharing his personal experiences, Shaq shifts the narrative from confrontation to reflection. He creates a space for empathy and understanding.
And it seems like that resonates with everyone in the room. What's the atmosphere like now?
The entire energy of the lobby shifts. The tension dissipates, and people seem genuinely moved by Shaq's words. It's at this point that we meet Tommy, a young boy whose father is a huge Shaq fan. He nervously approaches Shaq and presents him with a drawing of Shaq as a superhero.
What a sweet gesture. That small detail speaks volumes about the impact of Shaq's kindness, even in the face of disrespect.
Right.
This is more than just a feel-good story, though, isn't it?
It really is.
Yep.
Shaq could have easily brushed off Tommy's drawing, but instead, he treasures it. And I think that highlights how he values each interaction, no matter how small, and how he uses his platform to uplift others.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And it's just a very simple thing.
It is.
But it's so powerful and so meaningful.
Yeah, and it really speaks to a larger point about how we treat each other and the impact that our actions can have.
Absolutely. So we've set the stage, we've met our key players, we've seen this incredible interaction unfold. But the story doesn't end there, does it?
It does not.
There's so much more to unpack here. We're going to delve deeper into the ripple effect of Shaq's actions, explore the transformations that take place, and uncover the enduring lessons that this story holds. So join us for part 2 of this deep dive as we continue to explore the profound impact of Shaq's simple act of kindness.
It's going to be good.
And it's incredible how this one act of kindness can have such a ripple effect.
Yeah.
I mean, the atmosphere in this lobby completely transforms.
It does. It's almost palpable. Like, you remember how it felt when we first started describing it?
Right.
You know, all that coldness, the exclusivity, the judgment. Now there's this, like, warmth, this sense of shared humanity, right?
Yeah, and it's not just that the staff is nicer. It's that it seems like the guests are interacting differently with each other, too.
Right. Exactly. Shaq's actions set a new tone. Like, everyone deserves respect, you know, regardless of how much money they have or what they're wearing.
Right. It's as if by Shaq just sharing his story, it gave everyone permission to be a little kinder and a little more human.
Right.
And it's especially striking that this is in a luxury hotel.
Right.
You know, a place that is all about image and exclusivity.
Totally. It challenges all those superficial values because it's saying that true luxury isn't about the decor or the, you know, perfect service. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued and respected.
And Shaq achieves this not by lecturing, not by preaching, but just by leading through example.
Exactly.
He shares his experiences and allows other people to draw their own conclusions. It's subtle, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's like a quiet revolution. It's this gentle shift in perspective that can have a huge impact.
It makes you think, how often do we miss these opportunities?
Right.
To make a similar impact. You know, a kind word, a moment of understanding.
Just the little thing.
These little things can have such far-reaching effects, right?
Absolutely. This story reminds us that we all have this capacity for kindness.
Right.
It doesn't matter your background or your social status.
And this whole episode is full of these small but significant moments.
Yes.
Like the scene with George.
Oh, yeah.
The elderly maintenance worker playing Debussy on the piano.
I love that part of the story. It's so poignant. The way he plays, the emotion in his eyes, it just adds a whole other layer, you know?
Yeah. It's a reminder that even in this bustling, impersonal environment, like a hotel lobby, that there is still these pockets of human connection waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely.
And Shaq doesn't just like compliment his playing.
Right.
He stops and asks him about the meaning behind the music.
Yeah, he asks him, what's the story behind the song? And George shares that he used to play it for his wife, you know? It brought her comfort during her final days.
Yeah, so it's a reminder that music can evoke such deep emotions and connect us to memories.
Totally. And it's also about Shaq's willingness to listen, you know?
Right.
To see the person behind the music.
Yeah. And speaking of transformation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kelly.
Okay.
She goes from being this arrogant and dismissive person to being genuinely remorseful.
Yeah.
By the end of the story, she's greeting guests with a smile, and she's actually attentive.
Yeah.
What do you make of her transformation?
I think it exemplifies, like, perfectly the ripple effect of Shaq's actions. It wasn't just like he called out bad behavior. He inspired, like, a real change.
Right.
Not just in her, but, you know, seemingly in the whole hotel.
It's the power of empathy and understanding to break down these barriers and create a more compassionate environment.
Right. And it speaks to this larger point, too. We often focus on Shaq's, you know, athletic achievements.
Right.
But this story is about a different kind of strength.
Okay, what do you mean?
The strength of character, the strength of leading with kindness and compassion, even when faced with, you know, disrespect.
Yeah. His actions really challenge us to think about how we respond in those similar situations.
Right.
Because it would have been so easy for him to use his celebrity to humiliate her.
Exactly.
But he chose a different path.
Yeah. He chose a path that led to growth, you know, not just for Kelly, but for everyone in the lobby.
Yeah, and even for himself.
Totally. Remember, he keeps Tommy's drawing?
Yeah.
It's like this reminder, right?
Yeah.
This symbol of the impact he had that day, the reminder that he chose, compassion over confrontation.
And that's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
Because it says that true leadership isn't about asserting your authority.
Right.
It's about inspiring change through personal example.
Exactly. And it challenges us to think about what kind of impact we want to have on the world, Do we want to be known for our achievements or how we treated people along the way?
Shaq's story shows that those two things aren't mutually exclusive.
Right.
That we can strive for greatness and be kind. It's about finding that balance.
Absolutely. This story gives us such a good insight into humility and empathy. It tells us to look past what we see, like to recognize that we all share this common humanity.
We shouldn't oversimplify this, though.
What do you mean?
Well, some people could say that Shaq was kind of being manipulative, right?
Oh, interesting.
Like he waited for the manager to arrive before he revealed his identity.
Yeah.
Like it was a gotcha moment.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's certainly a possible way to see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that we're only getting Shaq's side of this story.
Right.
We don't know what he was thinking at the time.
Right. We can't know his intentions.
But what we do know
Yeah.
is that he chose to use the situation to teach.
Yeah.
Not as a way to get revenge or humiliate her.
And regardless of his intentions, the impact is undeniable, right?
Right. He used his platform to highlight the importance of treating everyone with respect.
And it worked. People felt it.
And it still resonates with us as we, unpack this story today.
Yeah. This is what makes these deep dives so interesting. You get to really dive into these little things and see how complicated they are.
Yeah. And while this deep dive focuses on one specific event, it brings up some bigger questions.
Yeah. What do you mean?
About how we treat each other.
Right. Like, especially people who we think are different from us.
Exactly. It's a call to action, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be more mindful, more compassionate, more aware of how our actions affect other people.
Totally. I agree. What do you think our listeners should take away from this story?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that kindness matters. It has the power to change people, to change communities, and even to change places that feel impersonal.
Yeah, like that hotel lobby.
Like that hotel lobby.
Right.
It's a reminder that we can all choose compassion over judgment.
Yeah.
And understanding.
Yeah.
Over making assumptions.
Right. And that even though it feels like we live in a world where image is more important than anything else,
right,
authenticity and empathy can still win.
Absolutely. The more we dig into this story, the more you realize that this wasn't just a simple act of kindness from Shaq.
Right.
This actually started a conversation, a shift in perspective that went way beyond just that hotel lobby.
It reminds us that we all have an impact on the world, no matter how big or small.
Right. And it's our choices, our reactions that can really affect the people around us.
For sure.
It's almost like Shaq accidentally created this social experiment.
Oh, interesting.
Where he showed just how much we judge people based on how they look.
Right. And by choosing to be kind instead of getting mad, he showed how powerful empathy can be.
Yeah. He changed how everyone acted in that space.
Yeah.
Not by forcing it, but just by being a good person.
Exactly.
And the thing is, this story didn't just stay in that lobby.
Right.
People all over the world heard about it and felt something. Why do you think that is?
I think we all want to be treated fairly, to be seen for who we really are.
Right.
We've all had times when people didn't see us or thought we were less than we are. Shaq's story tells us that we're not alone in that.
It also shows that even someone as famous as Shaq can be treated badly just because of how he looks.
And that real strength is about rising above that and being kind anyway.
And it makes you think about what real leadership is. It's not about being the boss.
Right.
It's about helping people be better.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the little things.
Right.
Just simple kindness and understanding.
Yeah. Doesn't matter who you are or what you've done.
Exactly.
You can always make a difference.
So as we wrap this up, what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think the most important thing to remember is that being kind matters. It can change people. It can change whole communities. It can even change places that feel cold and uncaring.
Right. We can choose to judge or we can choose to understand.
It's a choice we make every single day
Mm-hmm.
and every interaction we have.
And all those little choices add up.
Right?
They make the world what it is.
So think about Shaq's story.
Mm.
Let it inspire you to be kinder,
Yeah.
to think twice before judging,
Mm-hmm.
and to try to bring people together.
Even small things can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you.
And on that note, we'll leave you with those thoughts.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.